Alhamdulillah, assalamu alaikum. Before we start the podcast, there's something I have to let you know. By the end of this podcast, you're probably either going to be in one of two categories. Either A, you're going to be offended and you'll be in the comments quite emotional and no problem, do your thing. Or you're going to be inspired and you're going to want to set up a business. Now, you might not know, what business should I set up? The Umrah setup might be just for you. It's a product where we've helped over 50 companies, alhamdulillah, set up their Umrah companies, and they're already doing their trips. Some have already done first, second, third trips. Some are even on their fifth and sixth trips. However, I have to let you know, we are closing registration tomorrow at midnight. Thursday at midnight, it closes. Just over 24 hours when this video is released. If you're watching this later, it may be even less than 24 hours. It may be too late. We are never going to open registration again after this point. You might be wondering, why is that? The reason for that is because we're now going to be focusing our attention to those that have already signed up and ensuring, inshallah, with Allah's permission, their success. So if you would like to be one of those brothers who we're now going to be focusing on putting more attention and resources to helping them scale their Umrah companies or set up their Umrah companies if they haven't already, then all you have to do is click the link down below in the description, inshallah, book a call with one of our team, and if they feel like you're a good fit, welcome aboard, inshallah. If not, no problem. Maybe let's try your hand at something else. May Allah make it easy for you. Right now I'm here in Sharjah at the waterfront, alhamdulillah. And inshallah, maybe one day through a business that you decide to set up, which hopefully by the end of this podcast, every single one of you will want to set up a business, inshallah. And maybe you never know, you might be out here as well, coming for a stroll. With that said, let's get straight into the podcast, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'd, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Brothers and sisters, welcome back to another episode of Chai with my Bhai, where we help you excel in your deen and your dunya. Today's episode is a very different one. We are without Imran. He's out of the country, but he'll be back very soon. Instead, today we've got two very, I'm trying to think of a word to describe you guys.
Bengali.
We've got two very Bengali brothers today. You've seen them before. They are Abid and Umar. Give salam to the viewers, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
And today we're going to be touching on a topic which I know for many of you guys is going to be a bit of a sensitive one. And I ask you to enter into this episode with an open mind and drop the emotions, and let's go through this episode with a bit of logic. And that is the issue of the 9-to-5 employment. I first want to go around and just ask the brothers what their experiences have been working 9-to-5s. I'll start myself. Growing up, personally, I had it drilled into my head. I had to work hard to get good grades, and then, study hard to get good grades, and then work hard to get a good job, and just carry on working hard. And if I wanted more money, I'd have to just work harder. Work more, work harder, you get more money. That's how it is. And anything outside of that was like, no, that's a distraction. So started off after school, left school, worked in my uncle's chicken shop. 40 hours a week, full-time job.
The £1 an hour thing, right?
Yeah, £60 a week. So that's £1.50 per hour.
Wow.
And I was young, to be honest. Like,
how old were you?
I just left year 11, so 16. And
£60 a week, did you say?
£60 a week, which is a decent amount of money when
bad.
you're at that age. And I'm coming from a household where, bro, my parents aren't rich. My dad, we used to work and whatnot. He used to provide. Mom used to work as well here and there and whatnot. But we're living in the council house. It's not like anything. So for me, this was like £60 of my own money a week.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest with you, one thing that I realize now is that I didn't learn financial management. I didn't learn how to manage my money. I learned how to make some money, work hard. I learned management, and that caused me a lot of problems. Anyway, after that, left that, went to college. When I was at college, there was a Domino's. So I just passed my CBT because I wanted to get a motorbike. So I started doing deliveries for Domino's, right? Looking back at it now, obviously they were delivering haram meat. I wouldn't do that again. But that's what I did at that time until I had an accident about a month or two later. My mom said, no more motorbikes. I was like, all right, cool, no worries. Went back to college, trying to find a job, came across a call center. And this, I actually think like this was like a pivotal moment for me in my life because the skills that I learned working in a call center where you're having to do cold calls. Well, it's not cold calls. It wasn't sales. It was market research. So let's just say you bank with Halifax, for example, right? And you go into your branch, you either do a transaction or you ask a question or you do something, then you leave. I will then call you. We've been commissioned by Halifax on behalf of Halifax to call you and just ask you how did it go. It's a survey. People would start bugging though because you're calling me from the bank. No, I'm not calling from the bank. I'm calling from a different company on behalf of the bank. Straight away, alarm bells are ringing. And I had to learn how to navigate that. Anyway, there I used to work hard. They used to be like, get X amount of service per hour. Bro, it for me used to be like a drug. I used to be on this work hard.
You weren't getting paid by the hour, you were getting paid?
No, you get paid per hour, but if you get above a certain amount, throughout the whole week, you get a bonus.
Okay.
So I used to work for that bonus. Like they used to incentivize, man. And other people say, oh, I don't really care about bonus, whatnot. But me, I was like, no, I'm on this bonus thing. When I started getting money, like I'm saying, I'm in college, and if I did like 3 or 4 hour shifts a week, I'd get like £300-400 a month.
Okay.
But me, I was going like on Wednesdays, we used to finish early. I used to start work at 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. to 8 hours
From
shift.
home?
No, at the call center. I used to catch a train, go to the call center and whatnot.
Bruh.
Some months I'd earn like over £1,000, 1,000 to 1,500.
Raw in college. That's
in
crazy.
college times.
That's crazy. On
But with my bad financial management, actually, at the end of the month, I would be borrowing money from people to make ends meet and paying them back on the
No
on the pay
way.
slip. Don't worry.
Definitely something to do with the vehicle.
Yeah, I mean, part of it was to do with a car. There was other stuff as well, but it was just yeah. It was bad financial management. Bottom line is, it was bad financial management. Within 6 months of working there, I got promoted to a supervisor. They were hiring. I was only 17 years old.
Oh, wow. 6
But
months.
I thought, let me apply for it. Why not? It's more money. I applied for it. Other people applied that had been there for years before me,
Yeah.
that had way more experience than me, had way more life experience than me. They were older than me. I was the youngest. I applied for it. There was an interview. There was this, that. I ended up getting the job. Alhamdulillah. So I became the youngest ever supervisor there. I worked there for about another year, and I'm just earning, and I'm enjoying this earning of money. And then I went to uni, so I left it, and then a few other things happened. And that was my experience with the 9 to 5.
That's where it stopped.
That's where it stopped. I mean, no, look, if technically, after I dropped out of uni, I applied and I got a job at TFL.
Oh, okay.
So at this point, I just want to clarify, when I say 9 to 5, I don't mean necessarily you're in an office working 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
You're
I'm
not
saying
self-employed.
any employment where someone else is reaping the fruits of your labor, regardless of what times you work, whether it's part-time, full-time, shift work, you're employed by someone else. For the purpose of this podcast, we're going to refer to that as a 9 to 5. TFL, I'll be honest with you, it was probably one of the best jobs that you can have.
Yeah.
I was working 2 nights a week, Friday night, Saturday night.
And you were getting full-time salary
Approximately
as well,
8, 9. Yeah, so it was about 26k, which isn't a lot in terms of like a full-time, but for a part-time, like
2
there,
nights a
there are
week.
guys that are working 5 days a week that are older than me that have been doing that for years, you know, and I'm earning 26k, which is about £1,600 after tax. For just 2 nights a week. Alongside that, we're doing da'wah, we're doing Chama Bhai, the sessions, we're doing 5-star Umrah, we're doing all these other projects, and I'm still got my 9 to 5. So, let me ask you guys now. Let's start with Abid. What was your experience?
We're not talking about, just for clarification, we're not talking about the whole uni process. We're talking just the job.
Just a job.
My first 9 to 5, alhamdulillah, and I was really grateful for this, was in a retail store. And I was 16 at the time, the youngest in the retail store. So whenever there was a shift empty, obviously I would get asked to do it first because lower costs for the manager, etc. Because I got paid minimum wage, which was like £4. I remember I walked in for the interview. I did my research beforehand, and then she was like, "Oh, you got the job." She pulled out a post-it note and said, "Your salary is going to be £4.25 per hour." I was like, £4.25? Isn't it £4.65? She was like, "Yeah, it changed last week," because I knew it changed last week.
Okay.
So I got paid a bit more, alhamdulillah. Anyways, I didn't come from money either, so I used to work like crazy as well. That summer holiday after GCSEs, work. Just before A-level started, I had just enough saved to build my first PC, which was like my dream goal. I could hang around with the cool
You were
kids.
one of them guys, yeah, about it.
Yeah.
PC.
Built my PC. First jumped into the lobby with all the guys. They're like, "Huh? Abid's got a PC?" Because I had nothing. I used to just read books all day.
Yeah.
I jumped on. Yeah, the rest is history, alhamdulillah. But that experience, it had so many, I mean, for all the khair it did, crazy. Like one thing that people don't talk about is the stuff I was exposed to in that lifestyle is disgusting. Like the stuff, I'm talking about a non-Muslim
Oh, wait, for a
corporate
second. I
workplace.
thought you were about to mention some positive stuff. And I said the khair I was exposed to, and then
As in the khair it brought, like money, better cash flow, especially from my parents. Not having to ask them for money for books, calculator, A-level maths, whatever it is. The stuff people did there, the stuff people talked about. I was the only Muslim there, the youngest kid there. It was just crazy, and I would never ever ask someone to be involved in all of that. Anyways, it did force me to learn time management. It did force me to learn sales because I had to sell. I had to reach a quota, and I actually became the best salesman there, alhamdulillah. In terms of, we had to sell secondary products with the prime. So someone will come in and buy a shoe or something, for example. There's a list of stuff under the counter that we have to try and sell with the shoe or persuade them to buy it. And I had the highest, the quota most regularly. After that though, hit uni, A levels, then uni, and all throughout that time I was a private English and maths tutor. So I hadn't hit. It wasn't really a 9 to 5, but then I did it for a company, which then became a 9 to 5. And during that time is when I started doing videography on the side, and then it became an addiction. Being able to work for myself, earn like triple what I was earning there, quickly within about 3-4 months. What I was earning in a month.
We're gonna come to the pros of the self-employment in a second.
Oh,
right
yeah,
now, I
yeah.
just want to understand, what was your journey with 9 to 5? Does it end there?
That's it. It stops there.
Okay.
I left.
Perfect.
All right. For myself, I actually started working at a bubble tea place.
Okay.
Just for like a few weeks and everything. That ended very fast because they didn't necessarily have enough money to be able to cover salaries and everything. So I just spent ages looking for jobs. And alhamdulillah, I got a very, very high paying one for my age and everything. I was working at a trampoline park, and I was also doing my fitness qualifications and everything. So I was qualified as a fitness instructor at this point, not as a personal trainer, but as a fitness instructor, and I could technically work in the gym at the same time. So I was working gym part-time and in the trampoline part-time. So I was like that guy who...
How old are you?
I was 17 at the time, 18 at the time.
That's good.
So yeah, I was making a decent amount, especially studying at the same time. And just my whole journey of it, I'll give you a quick rundown. So alhamdulillah, it was a very decently paying job and everything. And also in terms of this job, they allowed me to pray my salah there. But I always had this one thing, like I have to ask another guy, can I pray now instead of later or something like that? So I never missed a salah because of work. It was always on time. But that one thing that I had to go and ask is like kind of an ego thing. Like the fact that I have to ask to pray my salah, I got to get out of here ASAP. And at this point, like, alhamdulillah, like, just like yourselves, you're quite, Abid mentioned, he was like the top salesman at his job. I would say I had pretty decent people skills at the trampoline park and everything. Like all the customers would like me and everything. And the management will always talk about, there was this one manager who was like, yeah, this guy's going to be the manager of this like branch one day and everything. So I was quite highly rated, okay? But I still had something that's like, got to get out of here.
Just to clarify, both of you guys, did you also have it drilled into you from young? Study hard, get good grades,
100%.
work hard, get a good job. That is the path to success.
That's standard for Bengali families.
That was that's what you guys were taught, right?
know. I knew nothing about business. I didn't have any relatives or uncles or cousins or anyone that was involved in business.
Okay, so now let's talk about some of the benefits, or rather perceived benefits, of working a 9 to 5 that make it so hard for people to leave. And I'll tell you guys a story. Right, recently, myself and Imran, after the road trip, we met up with some of the brothers that came on the trip, and one of the brothers, Allah Barik, he's very well to do. Allah Barik, yeah, he works for. He's like, like in the equivalent of, like in law. A QC, Queen's Counsel lawyer, is like the top like level in the UK that you can reach in law, if I'm not mistaken. He is like that in finance and investments. So he manages a fund of I don't know how many hundreds of millions, if not, it may even be over $1 billion. I don't know. But he's the guy that looks at the markets, told like investors' money, etc. And then he has to make the money, and he gets a certain commission and cut. But he's very like I won't mention because I don't want to specify who it was. But let's just say he bought his own car to the road trip, and it had over 750 horsepower. Let's just put it like that. So
which one was it?
I'm not gonna mention.
Whoa. Yeah, I know. But I heard stories about it.
You missed it.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll be in the next one, inshallah. But anyway, so he was talking to us, right? And this guy, Allah Barik, well-to-do. He owns like sports teams here in the like he's made his money. He owns property back home as well, and he's got his thing. Allah Barik. Yeah. But yeah, he was still there, and he was asking us for just business advice, how to start, what to start, where to go, what to do, etc. And that itself was a bit mind-blowing for me, because in my mind it was like, but this guy's got like what everyone would think of as a successful individual.
Yeah, we heard about the numbers as well. It's crazy.
He's earning crazy money, like
ridiculous.
He was saying to us, like, in order for me to be able to earn what I'm earning right now from like a business venture, I would have to start like 10 different ventures. So he didn't even go into specific numbers, but I know that number must have been very, very high given what he does and the bonuses that he gets, so on and so forth. And he called his 9 to 5 something, and it really resounded with me. He called it a golden handcuff. He said, my job is like a goal because they give me just enough where it's like the thought of leaving, it makes me, feel, because it's like there's that security. And I feel like that's the key thing with the 9 to 5.
Alright, let me ask you a question, yeah.
Go on.
On that.
Go on.
Would you rather work a 9 to 5 for $500,000 a year?
$500,000 a year.
$500,000 a year. Let's say that's the golden handcuff range. Or be self-employed, run your own business for 6 figures.
6 figures.
Yeah.
$500,000 is 6 figures.
No, it's just 100K.
As in 100K versus 500K.
Oh, 100K.
Yeah, 100K.
Yeah. Honestly, it really depends on the circumstances. Like, what is
There's a
the
lot of
employer-
factors. There's a lot of things I would consider.
Yeah.
First of all, the job's fully halal. There's no issues, no haram, no free mixing, no nothing like that.
No.
Possibly, maybe, I'm just thinking on the top of my head, maybe I'll take the job and on the side work on a hustle and then leave the job once I've built up my side hustle to enough of a point. Use the income that I'm getting from that job. With the 100K, 100K is still a lot of money to be making by yourself.
Exactly, like 100K a year, you don't have any financial
do I
stress.
have employees like to pay? Like, do you get it? I would say it's a difficult one to answer. I don't think it's as clear cut or as black and white. What's the reason why you asked it? You seem like so eager, like so.
No, I'm just curious.
Oh, okay.
Because we're talking about golden handcuffs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it better to be self-employed than to have golden handcuffs?
So like security is the number one thing, and I feel like for a lot of people, it's that concept of I've got X amount of commitments at the end of the month that I need to pay for. My job is providing me with those commitments. If I leave, I don't have those commitments covered. I'm gonna get tax man chasing after me. I'm gonna get the bills, the bailiff's gonna come after me. That's one of the reasons. Can you guys think of any other reasons why someone would be hesitant to leave their 9 to 5?
I would say that I came up with 2 reasons before this podcast. Number one is the financial security. Like, it provides you with enough. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing is you've spent all this time, depending on what role you're in, you spent all this time, you've invested so much time, so much money in your degree and everything. You've built up to a point, you're 26, 27 years old. You're about to advance in your career even further now. Now you're asking me to chuck this all in the bin essentially and just start something from scratch. For some people that doesn't make sense. Like, I've invested all of this now I'm just going to start from scratch again. What was the point in all of this?
That's a good point.
I think another thing is,
Well, my response to that would be, if you're digging yourself into a hole, at some point to get out of the hole, you have to stop digging.
It's not necessarily a hole all the time, because
I believe it is.
The further that you get into it, the more money you make. But then at the same time, you got more commitments and everything. I personally disagree with that. But that's
you need to finish reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, bro.
I know. I personally disagree with that. But
I'm just saying, he actually made such a profound point.
This is not my opinion. This is other people's opinion.
He made such a profound point, where he said that people think the more I specialize, the more, like, if I get my master's, if I'm a doctor, I become this surgeon, the better it becomes because I earn more money. But he says the worse you become, because you're now, those skills aren't transferable.
Yeah.
If you were to lose that job, or if that industry was to die, or for whatever reason, you would become stuck.
Yeah.
Someone, okay, but there's some industries that will always be there, like medicine is there, and so on and so forth. But the demand might change, the environment might change, the market might change.
And like, essentially, we can flip the script, because now you've invested all of this time for what? Like,
it's just into one thing, and now like there are people that are well overqualified for simple basic entry-level jobs, but they're forced to work them because they got made redundant and there was no other jobs in that specific field. So it's true, you will specialize, you become more valuable in a particular niche.
And there's a certain type of demand as well. Like, that demand is dictated by the big companies and everything.
By the big companies and everything else.
So again, it's just the matrix, and now you're stuck.
Abid.
Yeah, on that, actually, I have a general principle that I try to follow as well, is become above average at everything. Don't master just one skill.
Yeah.
Because you never know what skill you're going to need. And whoever it is that is looking at you, one day they could look at you when you're at your weakest during displaying a certain skill. That's it. They will never look at you again. That first impression is gone.
And you know what it is? It's very profound that you mentioned that, because, like, let me give you an example, like salespeople.
Yeah.
Straight away, when you think of salespeople, the thing that comes to your mind is scummy. They're just out here trying to make money, and they're trying to do this and this and this. And a lot of people, out of possibly ego or pride or arrogance, they would never even consider working a sales job, because it's like, bro, like, that's like knocking on people's doors or this or that. But wallahi, the skills that teaches you. Like, I never did sales, so to speak, but I remember at uni, when I was at uni for like I was there for like 3-4 months. I remember there was a job posting that was offered, and it was to do with phone calls. So I was like, wait, I did phone calls for a year and a half in market research. Let me try this one.
Yeah.
So basically, I had to call up alumni, people that had graduated, and ask them to donate back to the uni.
Oof, crazy.
So, so they did some training and they asked you this, that, blah, blah. So I remember the first shift. So I sat down. The reason why I liked it because I didn't have to go. I'm practicing now. So one of the reasons why I left the first call center. The environment I wasn't too happy with. It was like this was like you could do it from there. There was like separate booths. You could be by yourself. So I'm doing it. So I'm calling. It's my first shift. I'm calling a few people that are really interested. And she's gonna get onto a call, and it's a woman. It's actually a sister. She was Muslim. I'm talking, and what I really like, they're treating it part of closing a deal is you have to build rapport.
Yeah.
So I have to I'm so uncomfortable. I have to make a couple jokes, whatnot, making it laugh. How was your time at Kingston? Blah, blah, blah. Already, during this call, in my mind, I've quit. I've already decided that's bro, I'm so uncomfortable with this.
Yeah.
But I still wanted to close the call. So I said, cool. And I was like, alhamdulillah, I managed to get her to donate. And it was like a big donation. Like, not big in terms of the amount, but if you get them to commit to a certain period of time, they consider that as huge. They'll start celebrating that after the call and that.
Yeah.
So it's funny.
How much was it?
I can't even remember. But it would probably maybe that's 30, 40 pound a month, £50 a month, something like that. But that's a lot of money. If you consider like someone donate that back to the uni, that's a lot of money. Like, brother, you already spent £9 a year, and now you're donating back to the uni.
Serious sales skills
Don't
to
make
get
sense.
someone to do that.
Yes. So then I managed to do that, and that shift I quit. I said, sorry guys, it's not for me. They're like, why? You did so well. You're gonna be good. You got this, blah, blah, blah. But I said, that's not for me, man. I just didn't feel comfortable with the idea of having to come. Even though it was over the phone and whatnot, it just didn't feel right to me. So I feel like sales skills.
No, after you finish your point.
No, sales skills are so crucial, fundamental. They'll help you in all aspects of your life.
Yeah.
Those same skills now, like if I go to buy a car for the supercar rental company, those negotiation tactics, those skills, the knowing the people and knowing how to twist someone's arm in the right way and this and that, so on and so forth, it's so important, man. But unless you have the humility to put down your pride and your ego, dive into a job like that where you are going to get judged. And that's another thing I was going to mention, but I'll let you mention your point first, which is the fear of judgment is what stops people from leaving there.
Yeah. No, sales is definitely a foundational skill. Whatever business, venture, whatever it is, you need to learn sales. Anyways, what I was going to say is one thing I think is so sad now, and I don't know if it's from society. I don't know what it is, but just brothers have low self-esteem.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think... Like, look at the brothers who've made it, Allah Barik. Brothers have, I don't know, like ADHD. They've got
You just described all three of us, bro.
No.
You know what? We used to do a podcast on ADHD. I have my own thoughts and my reservations. And is it real?
Crazy.
Is it not?
Explain it right now.
Is it?
We need him run. We need him
run.
run on that podcast. 110%.
Anyways, the point I was making is how many brothers are seen as disadvantaged? Dyslexia, ADHD, single parent, you name it, orphan, whatever it is. But brothers are too scared to leave their 9 to 5 because of what society has told them. Man, you can't do it. You didn't do well in your exams. So how are you gonna make it in such a cutthroat world? It's not that hard, bro. It's not. You're not gonna face, like, no one's gonna pick you out for it. It's not gonna be tougher for you. The amount of potential I see in brothers, just like brothers from the ends, man, just normal brothers, but they're not actually normal. I know they can do it. Like, I'm not like especially intelligent or something. But like, brothers look at me and say, "Oh, how'd you do this? How'd you do this? How'd you just?" I just did it. It's not because I was smart or whatever it is. You just even if you put the same amount of work you're putting into your 9 to 5, half of that into a side hustle, bro, you'll be shocked at how far you go.
Results.
Yeah. One thing you were mentioning as well is just the low self-esteem thing, other people putting you down. Like, coming from a Bengali family and everything, like, there's a lot of stereotypes. I'm from a Pakistani family as well. How did you guys, like, go around that? What were your family like? Were they supportive? Were they not? Because, alhamdulillah, my family were very supportive about it. But when I talk to other people, it's like, you are a disgrace to the family. Like, how can you do that? Like... Because for me, there was still an element of that. Like, my grandfather, just throughout my bloodline, like, everyone's an engineer.
I think it's perfectly justified.
This kid just wants to be a personal trainer online. Like, how's that going to work? So
I think it's personal. It's fully justified for them to be like that. And until they see results, I will allow them to feel like that.
Yeah.
Until I've shown them the results, I can't allow myself to try and convince them.
So don't you think they should be a bit more supportive? Because I feel like people being supportive to me.
No, if I was a father, I would pick the safest route that I knew for my child as well.
Yeah.
Really?
The safest route that I know, of course.
What's the safest route that you know?
Like, if I know that business doesn't work, if I know, for example, SMMA, an agency, and I know 10 years later, when my kid is 6, okay, I don't have a kid right now, and he's not going to be 16 10 years later, but just for,
Anyway,
yeah. If he's 16 and he's asking me like, Dad, what should I go into a 9 to 5, whatever? I'm like, bro, I'm doing SMA right now. I'm getting 100K a month. You do it. Of course I would tell him, and he told me,
no.
no.
Once you're confusing, would you tell him 9 to 5? Would you tell him?
No. I would tell him what I know is
What he thinks
working.
the safest
Right.
route is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, which is understandable. But then, what if that's from a place of ignorance? That's the point that we're making.
It could be. It could be.
Because, like I said, even myself, right? And this was the point that we're going to move on to, which is, you know, the fear of being judged, or the fear of what people will say about you, right? Because even me, like growing up, I had very good grades. Like I was very smart, math, science, A stars, this, that, whatnot. Like in school, especially college, I started to slip off a bit. Like started to get involved in other stuff, and maybe started to slack off and got like a BCC or whatever. But I still had good enough grades to get into university and whatnot. And to the point where I remember, like, 'cause I started practicing at the end of college. And I said, when I started practicing, I realized, wait, uni, that's a myth, it's haram. Uni loans are haram. And I don't care what any so-called sheikh says or this or that one. It's clear cut. Uni loan is riba. If you're going to take a uni loan, you're waging war against Allah. There's no two ways about that. Straight away I said to myself, I'm not doing it. And I emailed both unis. I think one was Kingston and then Hertfordshire. And I said, withdraw my place. I'm not involved in student loan. I cancelled the application. My family found out. They started getting crazy. Like, what's going on? What do you mean? You're going extreme. This, that, blah, blah. Like, it's needed. And, you know, they made me sit down with one imam from our masjid, and he tried to break it down. He tried to explain to me how it was. I said, bro, with all due respect, nah. Like, even though I was at there, bro,
what did you try breaking down? The riba clause?
The uni, plus I was, you know what, I want to go study Medina. I want to do my Islamic studies. So he was trying to say, look, do your secular studies first, then go and do your thing studies, and you'll be better because you will learn stuff and whatnot. But anyway, long story short, one of my uncles, very well off, and, you know, may Allah put barakah in his wealth. When he heard about it, whatnot, he decided to go, I'll pay for your uni fees. If the reason why you're not going to uni is that because I see the potential that you have, I'll pay you for your uni fees. But I was like, but it's too late. I've already cancelled my placement. Blah blah. Qadrullah, one of the universities that I applied for, the email I had responded to cancel my space was for student accommodation, not for the space of the uni.
Okay.
So they go back to me saying, sorry, we're confused, that we don't deal with that. But then, alhamdulillah, like I still had that space in the university. So I ended up going, right? And I was doing pharmacy. Because for me, it's like, I'm good at maths, I'm good at science. I didn't know what I wanted to be. But my mum wanted me to be a doctor. In college, I messed around a bit too much, so I didn't get the grades to be a doctor. So then I thought, you know what, pharmacy is the next best thing, right? So I started the course, and I actually gave it 100%. I said, you know what, this I'm actually going to, my uncle's pay for it. I saw it as a sign from Allah. I stayed away from the haram, and Allah provided a way for me to do it in a halal way, without riba. This is meant to be. I've given it 100%. And then I had to do a placement, and there was a Tesco University opposite my house where I used to live, and I got a placement there. I walked in, I was starting, this is my first taste of the actual job. And I realized, whoa, like, this is dead. I said, I can't do this for the rest of my life. 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. I'm going to be what? In the morning, you have to stock the shelves. I'm a shopkeeper, bro, for drugs. And I'm like, you know, then I started looking into it. And I started looking at it. I said, wait, like, sure, you know what? If the money's mad, it'll be worth it. But I looked into it. Like, the money's not even mad. You start off for around 20-something K. Then after a few years, and it's a 4-year degree, so it's £36,000 that you're spending, plus 1 year pre-reg you have to do, where you're getting such a low pay just to be able to qualify. After 5 years, you're earning like 20-something K, 30K. Then you're going to gradually go up by 1K, 2K a year. And then to earn like anything above like 45, 50, you have to either own your own pharmacy or start your own pharmacy. And to get a license to do that in the UK now is just like almost impossible. There's one on almost every street corner. Unless you've got a family member that's running one, you're going to inherit. You're going to struggle to get your own. So it's just like, I was like, this doesn't even make sense to me. And at the time, my dad was working at TFL, right? And he'd always said to me, by the way, you know what? There's always another option, which is, you know, TFL. I said, Dad, I look at him, I said, Dad, I'm going to go to university. I'm going to get a real job. I'm not going to work at TFL.
Right, so this is your dad?
No, not like that. Not like that, words. But dad, no, like, I want to go uni. I want to get qualifications. I want to do this. I want to do that. And then I looked at it, and I remember the moment, bro. My brain exploded. I was like, a train driver gets paid 50-something thousand pounds from the day he starts, and no qualifications are needed. I have to spend £36,000 to earn 20-something after 4 years, to then start earning 20-something thousand pounds. And then eventually, and for me to even get to 50, it's either unimaginable or it will happen after maybe 10, 15 years in the job. I said, what am I doing?
Yeah.
What am I doing? And at the same time, I had been around Imran and the brothers and Ustad, and no one had ever said to me about leaving uni or stuff like that. But I just became disenchanted with the idea of uni. I enjoyed my Islamic studies more with the brothers. I enjoyed the brotherhood. I enjoyed being with them. And then I also put in a few applications for TFL because I actually really, really wanted to get married. But that's a different story. I'll tell that on another day. But for me, when I then decided that I dropped out of uni, I didn't tell anyone straight away because I was like,
Yeah.
this is going to be peak. And I remember when I did finally drop it, it was mayhem. Like my mum was panicking. Like, and she's practicing, by the way. She was happy that, to be honest, look, to be fair, she was still left an angle like, okay, look, either way, there will be khair in whatever Allah decides and, qadr of Allah and whatnot. And as long as you're on your deen, that's the most important thing for me. But she's like, bro, what are you going to do? She started stressing. She started thinking, bro, like for the future and this and that, you got all these potentials. And in her mind, that's all she knows. She knows that if you don't go to uni, you're going to work a low-paid labor job. If you do go to uni, you're going to get a qualified, a better job. My dad as well, his thing obviously was, again, the same thing. And also, it's a bit embarrassing that, like, his brothers just paid for my university. I then decided to drop out. Like, it is a bit of a kick in the teeth kind of thing.
Yeah. How did he react?
One second, I just checked the date on my phone. Tomorrow marks exactly 1 year since I left uni.
And you dropped out?
Yeah. No, I took a gap year.
Oh, you're in a gap year?
Yeah.
Well,
So you're back to uni tomorrow.
In what year? In what year did you take a gap year?
Second year.
You were in second year. Okay, now I'm like 3 months into it.
Yeah, I was technically, last year was meant to be a gap year as well, but just
like, I didn't even go to my exam, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but with my dad, I can't lie to you though. After that initial phase of anger and whatnot, he was like, just make sure you do something. If you're going to drop out uni because you're saying this, that, and blah. And even like, because at the time, there was a lot of pressure and a lot of people that were hating on the fact that I was with Imran. But even then, my dad, I can't lie, Allah Barik, he held it down for me. I can't lie, that's one thing I have to give to him. And as you said, having that support, it makes a big difference. Because there were times where that self-doubt sometimes creeps in. And
I feel like, what would be very healthy is having a balance of both, like, because that hatred and all of that is meant to drive you, and then that support is meant to, kind of give you some solace as well.
So, but I can't like having my dad there, and I actually live with him, right? So it's me and him all the time. So having that support there, knowing that he had my back, even though he wasn't necessarily happy with my decisions, but he was still willing to ride for me. That made all the difference. That for me was at the
Now you can't let him down at this point.
Now I can't let him down as well. That's another thing as well. So now I've decided, okay, whatever I do, it has to be proper.
Yeah.
And as you said, there was no results for a very long time. And he used to make it clear, like, bro, what are you doing with your life? And I said, Dad, I don't know, but all I know is I'm happy. Like what I'm doing, I'm happy, and inshallah, like I have trust in Allah, like make you happy to be like, cool. But every now and again, he would come back to like G-check me to say like, what are you doing with your life? Because I was working for like first 2 years. I was working with the brothers and around knowledge choice, whatnot. Again, my mentality was always employee. I have to prove, I have to put in good work. And I was willing to do it, willing to do it for free because I'm getting so much value just by being around the brothers.
Yeah.
People don't realize, wallahi, like one thing I realized, when you have a teacher, like we had Ustad Abdurrahman Hassan, right? Sometimes, in fact, I would say I learned more outside of the classes in the masjid than I did in the classes in the masjid. And I don't know if that's an accurate thing to say. Let me think about that 1 second, sorry. Because I learned more, but I learned a lot outside of the classes. It was a different type of knowledge.
Yeah.
It was like seeing interactions between him and other du'at. I mean, like you're learning about Aqidah in the classes, but then you're seeing the implementation of it when there's a confrontation between two people. One guy 100%. Saying, this and this, like, this is what we should do, democracy and etc. And you're like, bro, and then and I'm seeing, so I say, bro, what are you talking about? And they get back and forth, and then I'm hearing, I'm standing with the whole thing. As far as it's one thing to learn about shirk and whatnot, then to see a man actually say, yeah, we are gonna do it. And I'm just like, what on earth? Like the stuff you learn outside of it, I would say was more beneficial. But anyway, the point being, this is something. Your family are going to judge you. Your parents are going to judge you. If you're married, your spouse may judge you. Yeah. Everyone's going to judge you. The society is going to judge you. Why? Because society, one thing, I don't know if you call it the society or them or the matrix, whatever, they want you to be a good employee because they need good employees to pay taxes. They need good employees to run their companies for them. Yeah. But you need to decide, am I going to be an employee or am I going to be an employer? Because there's stuff you never learn in school. Some of the stuff I learned in school, bro, I haven't touched it in years, bro. I don't think I ever will. But the stuff that I didn't learn, I struggled. Like I said to you, there were for years. Bro, even now, I'll be honest with you. Let me be completely honest and vulnerable, bro. I struggle with financial management. big man thing. Like
it's very rare to find someone who does.
I know people just working a regular job. Right now, 24 years old, they got like 40k saved up.
Yeah, I know.
I know. I'm talking about both. I know male and female. I got family members that I know younger than me. They've saved up. They got into the game early. Assets. They were buying cars, renting them out, etc. All sorts of stuff like that. I know one brother that's actually invested in one of the cars right with us. Actually, it's funny. On the way here, I actually messaged him because while I was preparing, I thought to him, I said, out of curiosity, did you ever read Rich Dad Poor Dad? Because this guy, I remember when I had the meeting with him, young guy, he's working normal 9 to 5. He talking about investments that he's got and this and that, whatnot. Yeah, I've got a brother in Nigeria that buys and sells cars for me there and whatnot. Blah, blah, blah. That's how I've got money invested with him to invest with you guys with Premier Supercars Dubai. I have to move some money out. They give me a week or two. I'll move the money out. I've got some crypto as well, but I'd rather leave that. I don't want to touch that. And he was like, next year my goal is to do Hijrah and I want the money that the car generates for me to fund that. And
very good.
By the way, he has moved. He's living there, and the money that the car generates for him is providing him with that income. And that car, Alam Barik, is actually our best performing car. It's funny, so it's the cheapest car that we've ever bought, but in terms of return on investment, he's got the highest ROI. Alam Barik, crazy.
Alam Barik.
So that's a young brother. What's the difference between him and me? Like, he probably earned less than me when I was growing up, but his was just financial management.
That's crazy.
Anyway, coming back to the topic, we digressed there for a little bit, ADHD and that, sorry. But the point of the matter is, you will be judged. You will have that. So the financial security the 9 to 5 provides, it keeps you in. And it's like, it's almost as if like you're taught to and if they see a sign of you about to dip out, suddenly you start hearing about a promotion. The rumors start to spread. Oh, you're about to due for a promotion soon. You're about to get a raise soon, and you don't realize, bro, the cost of living is increasing far more than your wages increasing. And even if you were to move to a different job and whatnot, like,
it's so sad in London, man.
Yeah,
I was
London
looking at properties the other day. It's so peak.
Yeah, the gap is just getting crazier and crazier and crazier and crazier.
Nuts. And even a postgrad, you finish a full degree, you get a first. Your postgrad is not paying for anything. It's horrible. I felt.
This is why people go 50-50 in relationships and stuff like that. It's actually
and like I said, we've done podcasts where we've spoken about the man should be the provider and this and that. Yeah. And I still do believe that is the case. 100%. But I do empathize, and I realize that, bro, for a lot of people, that's not necessarily an option. Or to be honest, I don't want to say that because I'm a firm believer is there is always an option. Yeah. If you have to downsize and move outside of London, do that. If you have to take on an extra job, do that.
But if we're talking about you're going to live in London, you're just a normal postgrad, like a lot of the time.
But all of those are choices. I want to make that clear. I do believe
those are choices, but within those like variables given that, it's actually pretty much impossible.
It's very hard. It's very difficult. And that's one of the reasons why, again, now we're going to move on to the next point, which is the benefits of self-employment. And the first one to mention is your earning potential. Yeah. Your earning potential when you yourself are at the top of the food chain is unlimited. Yeah. Whatever your hard work, your effort, as long as it's directed in the right place and it's meaningful effort, there's a direct correlation between that and how much you earn. In your 9 to 5, if you do a mediocre job for a week, you still get paid the same. If you do excellent, you still get paid the same. Maybe at the end of the year, someone look at you and go, you know what?
Yeah,
there's a bonus or whatever. But generally speaking, there's no direct correlation between your input and your output. Your output is fixed regardless of your input. If your input is too low, they'll sack you. If you do very well, they won't sack you. And if you do extremely very well and you bum lick your manager and you do everything that you're supposed to do, maybe you get put in for a raise down the line. Maybe you get a bit of a promotion. Maybe you get this and that, these extra benefits. But compare it to self-employment, where, by the way, at the beginning, the line is very slow. Yeah. It's gonna be you're gonna be working and you're gonna be working 9 to 5.
You're gonna be doing so much work. You're gonna get no.
You're gonna do 9 to 9. Yeah, and you're not going to see anything, and you're going to be going so slow, but it's going to go up like that. It's exponential, and eventually, once you hit that winning formula.
Pardon the interruption, but in case you ever wanted to move to Dubai, I've got something very special for you. As you may be aware, myself and Abu Bakr moved to Dubai and Sharjah last year. It was one of the best decisions that we ever made for our deen, our families, and our businesses. Living here is amazing. You've got a masjid in almost every single street. Unparalleled safety and security. You've got lessons from mashayikh and different teachers and students of knowledge in English and Arabic, and no income tax. Now, how do you move here? That's a question that you might be asking. Well, it can be tough if you don't know your way around things. Sometimes the companies that help you get visas here, they got hidden fees, long waits, big problems, resulting in visa rejections, a lot of wasted money and time. This is where Ansar Consultants comes into play. They helped us set up everything. No hidden fees, no long waits. They kept it simple and honest. I got my visa in less than a month. And these guys have a 100% track record helping brothers get their visa so far. 100% track record, that's insane. Allah Mabarak. Now, if you're thinking of moving to the UAE, I recommend Ansar Consultants. They can even help you invest in properties here with a 100% Sharia compliant contract. So if you want a smooth move like we did, click the link below and check out Ansar Consultants. Now, back to the podcast.
Then you will find that so number one is your earning potential, right? You can earn a lot more money. In theory, not saying that this is going to have to be the case for every job, that every business that you do. Some of them you're going to fail, some of them you're not going to do well, some of them will lose money, some of them will break even. To find one that makes money, if you manage to do that, which, like I said, it's not easy. People might be thinking, "What are you guys saying that 9 to 5 is easy?" Or are you saying that? Sorry, are you saying that leaving your 9 to 5 and just starting a job, it's just really needy? It's something. No, especially if you're married, if you've got children, if you've got responsibilities, if you're young, you are you got like no responsibilities on your shoulders right now. You're living at home. If you're working a job, my advice to you personally, depending on the situation, if you look at yourself, if you're able to hack it, leave and start working. If you've got responsibilities, however, like even me, I didn't leave my TFL 9 to 5.
No, I would say stay, whatever job it is, stay for a bit, use it as inject cash flow.
It depends. Okay, cool. That's true. If you, for the cash flow purposes, you can. You know what? You're right. It depends. It depends on the person. Depends on the situation. Depends on the circumstances.
You're
right. I take that back. You're right. It's funny because last time we recorded this episode, I was actually someone else was pushing for leaving. But you're right. I would say it depends. But have the mindset of leave. Okay, let me put it like this: leave mentally.
Yeah, that's a non-negotiable.
Leave mentally.
That's
mentally, leave your job.
You're not
100%.
there.
You're just there now. This is not a job anymore. This is a means.
Yeah.
The money that is generating for you, and reduce your commitment if you can. Like get an amount where you can now spend a good amount of time figuring out. But anyway, we'll come to that later. Sorry,
I'd say just one last point is give yourself a deadline as well. Give yourself a
so
deadline.
So once again, those are the fifth segment of the podcast. Right now, what are the benefits of self-employment? So number one, your earning potential. Let's come to number
I want to
two.
link it back to the deen because that's the most important thing. When it comes to business from an Islamic perspective, I can't remember who it was Imran or Fawaz, someone mentioned this on this podcast, but as a business owner, your level of tawakkul is on a different level essentially because your paycheck as an employee, you're somewhat reliant on someone else, okay? Like they're going to pay you. Like I'm relying on you. I trust you to transfer this money into my bank account. When it comes to business, like you're going out acquiring your leads and everything like that, depending on what business you have, you're trying to get sales, like you're directly relying on Allah for that. And you know that it's not going to come, obviously in general, you know your money's not going to come from anywhere other than Allah, right? But you just feel like closer in terms of a business.
You're going direct to the source.
Yeah, that's one benefit. And I actually found a hadith about the barakah when it comes to business. I had a screenshot of it somewhere. Let me put it out.
Is it at hand? Like,
yeah, it's
or
at
should
hand.
we move on and come back to you when you
Yeah,
find
it's
it?
at hand, yeah. Actually, yeah, you guys, let me just find it somewhere. It's got lost somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
5 seconds?
Talk. Like,
Okay. Abid, what's another?
Funny enough, I was going to mention that because it comes back to remind you all the time. It's that feeling where you're waiting for an email, you're waiting for that first notification. It's like, Allah, please, I need this. You got bills to pay. Which is why I said, anyways, actually, that's the fifth segment. Another benefit would probably be the amount of drive it puts into you. Everyone can see it. Like
it's
the
fire now.
Yeah. The discipline you have to control that and put that into a medium where you're producing output. The thickness it takes for your skin to have. Sorry, you become extremely thick-skinned. You have to, or you're not going to get through it. Just the characteristics it gives you, I think it's just for those alone. I think it's very important for a man to have those. Very important. Even if you come out of it and you go into a 9 to 5, you're not going to stay in that 9 to 5 for long.
Yeah. Once you've tasted the fruits of it, you can never go back to that.
It's crazy.
If you do, it'll be temporary just because
you have become a hunter now.
Yeah,
you are a hunter.
I wanted to mention the hadith. Someone can reference check this and everything, but the Prophet ﷺ said, trade, because rizq has 10 portions, of which trade consists of 9 portions. Like, that's just crazy if you think about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Say that one more time. Trade, because rizq has 10 portions, and trading has
Trading
9
consists of 9 portions. Yeah.
of those 10 portions.
Like, you're just going to get
That's actually
Excellent.
mad.
I've never read that.
Let me ask you both a question. Obviously, you guys worked your jobs and everything, myself
Yeah.
included. Do you feel like your business has just a different type of barakah? Because I
Oh, 100%,
definitely can vouch for
100%.
that.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And I never understood what it was until I came across the hadith.
Akhi, it's even when I wasn't earning a lot, like I said to you at the beginning, and this is actually interesting as well. You know, we'll come to this in the next one. At the beginning, I wasn't earning a lot, £100 a month, £200 a month. It was okay. I was living with my dad, whatnot.
Yeah,
Didn't have many
same with me.
responsibilities.
When I started my business, it took me a few months to even hit 1K a month. It took me a few months to hit that.
Yeah.
And I just feel like,
It took me a few years.
yeah,
But I wasn't technically. No, I was a volunteer. I was working as a volunteer with Imran,
yeah,
but I'll come to that in the next segment. But
yeah.
what are some other
I got paid on my first day.
benefits along Berdick? What are some other benefits of working, of being self-employed? One that I'll tell you is you're free.
Yeah.
You have freedom. And people say, I want financial freedom. I say, what does financial freedom actually mean to you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does it actually mean?
Because for me, it means, I honestly, it's an ADHD thing, but I know for a fact there will never come a day where I can sit down for 8 hours and just give it my all. I will never be able to do that. I personally believe that.
True, yeah.
Like, I like working in shorter spans, breaking up, and
That's one of the reasons why I personally loved the train driving, because it was just like
yeah,
you drive for an hour and a half, change ends, and you're doing that, and every shift
Yeah.
is different. There's no monotony. Like I couldn't do that concept of
yeah,
doing the same thing again and again, seeing the same people every
Yeah.
single day. That's why even business, like you're doing something new, you're trying different things, you're learning new skills.
Yeah.
There's just so much to it. But yeah, definitely.
But yeah, as a business owner, I can dictate my schedule. I can dictate when I work. I dictate how I want to work. I dictate where I want to work. I can dictate so much to make myself love what I do. So
It's true. Like tomorrow, for example, let's just say if I wanted to take a day off tomorrow,
Yeah,
okay, cool. Technically, I would have to speak to my business partners about it and just let them know, by the way, I'm not going to be working tomorrow.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, I mean, technically, no, I could just send out a message and say, by the way, guys, I'm not working tomorrow.
Let's
I've
say
got a problem.
you want to go to the UK, for example. Oh, okay, I'll just pull out my laptop on the plane or the
Yeah.
airport, wherever I have Wi-Fi, make sure whatever needs to get done. Just
So
say
yeah,
you're in the
because
UK.
I work remotely, right? I
Yeah.
work from home, so I can work from wherever I need to. I have meetings with people online and whatnot. That having that flexibility and that freedom, I've been able to travel to places that I would
Never
never
go back.
never have imagined.
and I feel like that's very important, especially like coming from South Asian backgrounds. Like some of us will be first generation, some will be second generation immigrants. Like our parents had to do a lot. Like my mum had to, obviously with my dad and everything. Like he got put in prison when I was very young. Like my mum had to put a lot of hard work in. I personally don't think I'll never ever be able to pay her back for anything, right? But at least I can try my best to be good to her. And one of the ways that I can do that is like if I've got freedom over my own business, my own work schedule and anything, like what's to stop me from flying out and spending time with her and stuff like that? What's to stop me from, you know, let's say an emergency happens, she gets ill, like if I need to take a long period out of work and everything, or just have the flexibility from working from a hospital even,
Yeah.
I have the ability to do that. But if I was working a 9 to 5, you know, my income would get affected by that. So it's very important, I would say, to be able to give back to your family as well.
The last thing I would say is
I got one thing that's really
Go on.
important. One thing that's really important, and they actually did a study on this, is when you work a business, you perform much better, and you're in essence, you're no longer driven by the stick, you're driven by the carrot. And they did a study on this where
What's that mean?
a group of men, I don't know if it was mixed, a group of people and another group of people, they incentivized them with a carrot, and then they pressured the second group with a stick, i.e. they gave them a goal that was very nice, sweet, etc. For the first group. The second group, they had a group that had things forcing them to do it. So either whatever it was,
consequences.
they had consequences if they didn't perform. And on average, this group, I think it was a crazy statistic, performed way better than this group. And this is what business drives into. You're going to have bills to pay. You're going to have people telling you, oh, what are you doing with your life? Because you haven't produced results. Until you produce those results, there's something digging into your back. Either it's fear or whatever it is. And that is going to skyrocket your performance compared to what you would have performed in a 9 to 5 or whatever it is in your safe, secure job. And I think that's really important.
Another thing when you have your own business is you can ensure that the money is 100% halal.
Yeah.
You know, 9 to 5, you're not on the board of directors. You're not you're not a shareholder. You're not a person of significant control. You know, you don't have any control on what the business does. The business might be doing things that are haram on a higher level,
Yeah.
and you're working. And you don't even realize it right now, but they're involved in haram and this. You know, they facilitate free mixing, and there's so many things. And the reality is, bro, it is hard to find a job that's 100% halal.
Yeah, very hard.
Extremely hard.
Very
You would
hard.
struggle.
Yeah.
you will struggle. But if you have your own thing, you dictate it now. But now some of you, that might even be even scarier, because if you're not fully practicing your deen, what's to say that if you were to go into business, you wouldn't then fall into haram? And I know so many brothers, practicing brothers, they fell into business and they ended up falling into haram. They put music in their videos, they have women in their marketing, they've got all these things, elements which are haram. It's so sad to see. But that's the thing, that if you have the ability to choose. Whether what you decide to do is up to you.
Yeah.
But here, at least you've got that flexibility to choose. Because even that brother, there's a brother that we spoke to, again, very good job and so on and so forth. But he was like, I just like, sometimes it's like, even because he's involved in finance as well. He was like, even though there's Sharia compliance stuff and this and that, a lot of the time there's like a lot of haram involved, and it's like, I know it's haram, and that really bugs me. And I'm trying to actually go. That's one of the reasons why I actually want to leave my 9 to 5, is because I know deep down that there's some elements of haram that's still there. And I want my money to be fully halal. I want the barakah of 100% halal money. And I feel like, you know what you mentioned earlier about you find the risk is better that way, because you have 100% control.
Maybe that's
You have
one of the
100%.
reasons.
I feel like maybe that's one of the reasons. Let's now talk about the day we left our 9 to 5s.
Oh wow.
Ooh.
So I'm going to talk about the last and final one, right? Which was, for me, the TFL.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been working at TFL for a while, and this is another thing as well. Yeah, I do feel like, you know, we mentioned previously on the benefits podcast that benefits, it's like as you said, they remove that fire up your belly. They sedate you. It's like a lion being sedated is just walking around like this. And to some degree, although definitely not to the same degree, I feel like a 9 to 5 is something similar. It's not the same. I'm not going to compare benefits. And definitely, if you're, and by the way, sorry, one thing I want to make clear, and I probably should have said that right at the very beginning. If you're working a 9 to 5, providing for your family, and you know you're working hard and it's halal, and I respect you. I respect you. Don't feel like you're doing something bad. Don't feel like you know there's a deficiency in you or anything like that. I'm just saying you could be doing more. I'm saying your 9 to 5 might be helping you survive now, but give it 10, 15 years, bro. It's looking like a scary place. The gap between the cost of living and the way wage rises is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So that's a scary thought. I'm trying to prepare you. I'm not looking down at you. Like I said, wallahi, if you're earning a halal income and you're working 9 to 5, but my respect goes out to you. You're doing what Allah told you to do, provide for your family. I'm just telling you, I'm making you aware there's a better way to do it. There's a way to do it where you get more for less. Not more for less, but more for the same at the very least. And it will be life-changing for not only for you, for generations to come, inshallah, if you do it properly.
Exactly.
Anyway, the day I left, so I'm working at TFL, and I can't lie, having that safety security of £1,600 every month, knowing that's easily my rent covered, anything else is extra. Like I'm taking my time doing whatever.
Yeah.
But definitely, I feel like it had taken a bit of hunger out of me, without a shadow of a doubt. I didn't even realize it. And everyone used to always say this to me. He said to me, leave Bhai, because I used to work with them for 2 days a week, work TFL 2 days a week, and I used to have 3 days free. I could do whatever I wanted to do, etc. And he said, why don't you just leave that and just come here full time? Like, we'll even top up whatever you get. I said, no, like, I can't be earning the same. I have to be earning more, because there it was guaranteed. Here, the same. Like, obviously, I see our finances. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, sometimes it goes up. It's not. I have to be earning like at least 1.5 times or 2 times what I was earning there. Anyway, so we're there, working. We're fitting like everything around my TFL. So, on my trips would be around TFL, my annual leave, etc. And I remember, Jabir. You guys met Jabir?
Yeah.
He was getting married. I had used up all my annual leave. So I put in a request for unpaid leave. And I'd already had a few dealings with managers where I just, like I said, I was a very good employee. I don't give you trouble. I don't give you headache. Like, if you want me to do something, bro, I'm not going to, somebody's trained drivers, like, they're militant. They're like you probably know, the strikes they do and this, that, and unions and, like, I'm not going out of my working hours, and no, I'm not. I was flexible, bro. I said, bro, listen, if you want me to do something, bro, I'll do it for you, no problem. Like, I'm not going to cause a problem, whatnot, blah, 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 but just make sure you scratch my back when it comes to return. And I never actually said that, but that is my expectation. That if I do it for you, bro, that's my attitude in life. I'll do you good, bro. I expect good in return. Not that I'm doing good because I expect return. But that's just the way life is. Reciprocation. So, and I remember this one manager there, whatnot. They had a few issues with leave before that and this and that. But I'm saying, bro, I have to get unpaid leave. I'm not even asking you for it. You're like, I could have taken the day off sick. People do that. Well, like, TFL people abuse it, bro. People take the mick when it comes to these people haven't worked in months and just on sick leave, getting signed off by the doctors, just getting paid full-time salary.
Wow.
And they laugh about it. There's huge issues with that. Like I said, I don't rate that personally. So my thing is, I'm asking you for unpaid leave. I understand. I'm contracted to a certain amount of leave, no problem. Give me unpaid leave. And they said no. And it was just jarring. There and then I said, cool, I resign. Like, well,
There and then?
how do I do it? Yeah, I said, how do I do it? How do I?
You must have felt like a boss.
How do I do it? Yeah, you know what? In that moment, yeah, like, it felt so good.
But then after you're like, what have I done?
No,
Were you not?
no.
Did you?
I
wait, one
was
second,
like,
one second.
okay, safe.
Did you do it out of anger in that moment?
No, I'm honest with you, it had been building up for a while.
Yeah.
I've been
Okay.
thinking about it for a while. Things have been building up where, bro, it started to get to the point where I wasn't really fully enjoying it anymore.
Yeah.
And I feel like naturally, me, I'm a person, I get bored of things very quickly.
Yeah.
So, but the constant chop and change of the job delayed that boredom. But I feel like eventually I did get bored of it. And eventually got to a point where I was like, yeah, nah. Everyone else was going full time. So I remember I just quit. I went, either emailed there and then I asked the manager, how do I quit? He's like, I think he was like, but people don't quit TFL. It's what you need to understand.
Yeah, they were
TFL, people call it
confused.
as a job for life.
Yeah.
Once you're in, it's progression. Go full time from a train driver, then become a TM train manager, then become a Tom train operations manager. Then you get into bigger. You become a controller. You earn 100k, like 150k. Like there's jobs there that
Yeah.
are big. People once you're in TFL, they got the best salary, annual leave,
Yeah, yeah.
perks of the job. You know, if the government try to mess with you, you just go on strike. Like bro, it's they got one of the best unions. It's a
Yeah,
job
yeah,
for
yeah.
life.
Yeah.
So he's looking at me like, what do you mean quit? I said, how do I, like, if I want to quit? He's like, do you mean like a career break? You want to take a career break? Because they've got stuff like that where you can leave up to I think,
Yeah.
5 years and then you come back to that same
5
job after
years?
5 years. Yeah, you can take a career break
Oh,
after
wow.
5 years. I was like, no, how do I leave for good? And then I can't remember what he said. Whatever he said, I just went and I did it, sent it off, whatnot, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, cool, the wedding's in 3 weeks, amazing, like, you know, whatnot, blah, blah, where to go. Turns out there was a 4 week notice period, so I still had to work. I still had to work for those 4 weeks. So I ended up missing the wedding. But Jabir, if you're watching
No
this,
way.
if you're watching this, I quit my job to attend your wedding and I still wasn't able to attend. Qadrallah, ma shafa.
That is crazy.
So I actually tried.
Does he know that?
fun.
It's a thought that
I don't know if he knows, no. But I actually quit because
Wow.
but there were other factors as well. But just, for your wedding as well. Anyway, after I quit, akhi wallahi, I can't even explain to you. Just thinking about it gives me tingles. It's like I woke up. But,
Yeah.
and I had never been fully asleep because I had always understood working for ourselves. We had businesses, we had things that we were doing and so on and so forth. So for me, but now it was like,
Yeah.
now I'm going Super Saiyan.
It's different.
Now it's like, okay, say no more. And I remember I told everyone that everyone asked me and that I told, they will say to me, bro, you're going to regret this decision.
Yeah,
What are
yeah.
you doing?
Yeah.
Why? Like people I used to work with, my family, my thing, like everyone was saying, like, what are you doing? I was like, don't worry. Don't worry. Trust me. I got this. But yeah, that's me when I left the 95 for good.
In the beginning, it's peak when you say that because it's like, oh, he's saying that, but like, we can't see anything.
Yeah.
But eventually, it's.
Anyway, so because we got 5 minutes, what was your experience?
I just clocked. I was like, bro, I'm making. I mean, before I started my business, I was like, oh, I'm making good money here. After I started, I was like, I'm making nothing. What am I doing here? So I just left. That's
Is that it?
Yeah.
I mean,
But
makes sense.
my sister was the manager, so I messaged her. I was like, I'm thinking of leaving. She was like, yeah, why are you still here? Because she sees me go out and deal with clients and close jobs and whatever. She's like, yeah, just leave, innit? And then I told my sister, can I leave? She was like, yeah. She let me leave.
Allah barik. What about you, Umar?
Yeah, so when I was leaving, it was kind of a build up as well because alhamdulillah, like alongside starting my business, when I started the Muslim PT, I mean at the time it was called something else, but we don't talk about that, do we?
UAK Fit. One of
Yeah.
the worst names in history.
Yeah, it's not that bad, but
That's
that's a topic for another day. Anyways, I was starting my coaching and everything, my business and everything, and as we mentioned, it starts off slow when you're starting off a business. Okay, so it's slow right now, and I'm getting all this topped up income from my job. But basically, there was a few haram elements in the job. Number one, they played music loud. Now, there's a difference between actually listening to music and just hearing music. I don't believe it was haram for me to work there, but it's not a desirable condition for me to work in. Now, the other issue was there was a lot of women dressed inappropriately there, jumping on trampolines. Like, that's not good, right? And yeah, and working in the gym, it's not good either, right? So there were these issues. Obviously, lower your gaze, don't listen to the music. But at the same time, that was in the back of my mind. I was planning to work there, but then I went for Umrah, right? And I was just speaking to Abu Taymiyyah. I had some private time with him, and he had this lecture on leaving stuff for the sake of Allah. Allah will replace it with something better. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something haram as well. It can be, you can leave off something that's not haram, which will still please Allah. And Allah will replace it with something better. So I was speaking to him about it, and he's like, yeah, just quit. And I'm like, okay, let me pray istikhara. And then I'm in the Masjid Haram, right? And then I just type out this email and everything to the managers. I just send it, and then from that day I'm finished. Yeah.
Okay, so now the final topic before we conclude is how the audience that are watching can leave their 9 to 5. What are some advices that you would give to a person that wants to always considering leaving their 9 to 5?
I think it's as easy as ever, and it might look like the opposite, but I promise you, brothers, it's as easy as ever. I think the e-learning space is so good right now. If I had nothing right now and I had a 9 to 5, I always told Muhammad this. If it wasn't for video free whatever, I'd be flipping cars because I love cars, etc. I love expensive. And if I saw Muhammad's course, I'm just plugging this here. He never asked me to, but pay for it, learn how to flip cars, and just flip cars. But I would say find something. Like there's so many like copywriting, SMMA, whatever. People like to obviously do this for marketing purposes, and it's true as well. There's some that are better than others, but you pick one and you stick to it for 6 months. I promise you'll be making more than whatever you were hoping to make in your 9 to 5, whatever it is. I don't think brothers understand that. They see the first 3 months, like, oh, man, I'm doing copywriting, I'm not earning any money yet. Let me switch to this. Then let me switch to this. Let me switch to... No, that's not how it works. You have to stick to it for a good 6 months. And then once you hit that one ding, that notification that comes, from there it's just plain sailing, inshallah. Now your thought is not how to survive, your thought is how to scale. But you don't stop working until you hit that.
Barakallah feek.
That's what I say.
I'd say for me, I've got this 3-step process that I would advise people to follow. First thing is always start with your intention. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Innamal a'malu binniyat." Actions are judged by their intentions. Now, if your intention to start this business and go on a route of financial freedom and everything, if that intention is to make hijrah, if that intention is to put the money back into the Muslims' pockets and everything, and your intention is pure, Allah's going to put barakah in that automatically. And also, when you do it, make an intention as well. I remember one thing that I wanted to do when I quit my job is, Allah, I'm going to quit my job so I can pray more salawat in the masjid and everything like that. Like I can actually do the stuff that I'm supposed to do as a Muslim. And it's really important, and this is a reminder to myself as well, is stay truthful to that promise. And this is something I struggle with myself, that I catch myself lacking sometimes. Allah says in the Quran, مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ رِجَالٌ صَدَقُوا مَا عَهَدُ اللَّهَ عَلَيْهِ. Did I say that right? From the believers that are men, and these men, they're truthful to what they promised Allah. So be truthful and Allah will support you. Okay, that's the first thing. And then the second thing is know what you're going to do and just become very good at it. Like, alhamdulillah, my specialty is just helping people have body transformations and everything. Like, people will, when they see results, like work for people for free. That's what I would say. Do that for free and then get results. Because when you can do that and you can prove that, like for myself, I can help a skinny fat guy go to jacked, right? Automatically they trust me because I've done it before. If I can do that 10 times, there's more trust, right? So when someone jumps on a call with me or inquires about my services, there's an automatic level of trust that's been built, right?
Yeah.
So you have to have social proof as well. And the third thing is, it's not just good enough for myself to be a good coach, right? I can be the best coach in the world. If I don't know how to market my services, it's pretty much useless from a business perspective, right? I'm only going to work with a certain amount of people and I'm never going to get more customers or anything, right? So learn how to sell as well, learn social media, learn all of these things. If that's the business model you're trying to go, these 3 steps, you'll be successful. There's nothing else you need to do, inshallah.
Barakallah feek. And finally, I would conclude with just saying mindset. So number 1, understand the reality of the 9 to 5 and think like if your mindset isn't fully there yet, if you haven't left, like I said, don't necessarily leave your job, but mentally leave it.
Yeah.
If you're struggling to mentally leave it, you need to study this more. Read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Understand that book. Read the other books that are similar. Understand business and what it will do for you and your family and generations to come. You won't want to work at 9 to 5. The second thing is skills. You need to be ready and willing to acquire skills and knowledge, and you have to pay for it either with your time or with your effort. Or with money. So people are scared. Why am I going to buy a course, bro? Why am I going to buy a course to learn how to
all
do
of us have
copy?
done it.
Or why am I going to? We've all spent money or time on course. I spent years
Done stuff for free.
I was working for Imran for free. I would say, bro, that guy, Allah barik, may Allah bless him. He flipped my mindset. If it wasn't for him, after Allah, of course, I don't think I would have ever jumped into the entrepreneurial side of things. I would have just been an employee. That was it. But being around that environment, seeing the way it worked and the mechanics and right, this is easy. I used to think this was for like a certain group of people that are just born into it and this is how it works and I'm just destined to be a good employee. No.
And brothers have to understand, like the day it clicks, you're gonna look back and think, oh, I would do
having
this
someone who's a
100
mentor
times.
and cool. Like, you might say, no, I don't want to buy courses from these online guys. No problem. You definitely know someone either in your family, in your neighborhood, or someone that you know of that has a business. Just ask them, say, please, can I shadow you for a week? Or in my spare spare time when I'm not working,
Oh,
can I
that's
come and just shadow you?
gold.
People don't have the humility.
Gold.
I'll volunteer. So I'm saying, drop your pride, drop your arrogance. Just ask them, please, can I just be an apprentice? Even though I'm 28, 30, 40 years old and I've got this qualification, I'm a master's graduate, I'm this and this and this. Can I just shadow you for a week or two, for a month, when in my spare time when I'm not working or in my annual leave? Can I just spend that time with you just so I can learn these skills and so on and so forth? If you can find the humility to do that. And there's other things as well, but I'll leave it at that for now because we're running out of time. We need to conclude. That would be my advice to each and every single one of you. Once again, just to reiterate, because I've seen comments, you know, Imran made a video, the first video on the Brothers Club on the Instagram page. If you go to it, it's Imran telling people leave your 9 to 5. And the comments were just going crazy. People saying this, that, we don't understand. I understand it's hard, I understand it's not easy. And also understand it's not for everyone. Some people say, oh, bro, it's funny. I remember one comment, it's actually a common comment people make.
Yeah.
Bro, if everyone starts a business, who are you gonna employ for your business? I'm like, so is that really your mindset? Like, okay, cool, it's true. There is someone that has to come and clean out the bins. It's true. Someone has to do that job. Is that your aspiration? Like, and I'm not, again, it's not going to be for everyone. Not everyone's going to be successful at it. But don't you want to at least try?
Most people aren't going to follow this advice, so why can't it be you?
Exactly. Why can't you be the one that steps out of it? You have to have that mindset. Anyway, with that said, we'll conclude there, and hopefully you guys find this beneficial. And we'll see you on the next episode of Chai with my Bhai. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.